Close your eyes for a moment and imagine waking up tomorrow as a redesigned version of yourself. Not richer, not more famous, but fundamentally rewritten from the inside out. Your DNA, every silent instruction that shaped your height, your health, your fears, your talents, has been edited overnight. No surgery. No pain. Just a quiet molecular rewrite while you slept. The mirror looks the same, but everything beneath your skin tells a different story, and the world will never be the same again. For the first time in human history, illness would feel like an outdated concept. Genetic diseases that haunted bloodlines for centuries would vanish before breakfast. Cancer would lose its mystery, diabetes its grip, and inherited disorders their power. Parents would no longer whisper worries about what their children might inherit, because inheritance itself would become a choice, not a gamble. Hospitals would empty, not because medicine failed, but because DNA finally learned how to heal itself. But the real shock would not come from curing disease, it would come from unlocking potential. Overnight, humans could reprogram their bodies for sharper memory, faster learning, stronger muscles, or heightened creativity. A person who struggled with numbers could wake up speaking mathematics fluently. Another could suddenly paint like a master or run like a champion. Talent would no longer be rare, it would be customizable, and that single shift would shatter how society defines greatness. Yet with this power comes a terrifying question. If everyone can be exceptional, what does exceptional even mean? Competition would lose its old rules. Effort, struggle, and years of discipline might be replaced by a single decision before sleep. The phrase, self-made, would feel hollow when success could be downloaded into your genes. The value of hard work would be challenged, and humanity would be forced to redefine pride itself. Social inequality would face a brutal transformation. At first, this technology would not be equal. The wealthy would reprogram intelligence, beauty, and longevity, while the poor might still fight old biological limits. DNA could become the most expensive luxury on Earth. A new class system would rise, not based on money alone, but on genetic design. Humans would no longer just look different, they would be built different. Governments would panic, because control would slip through their fingers. How do you regulate citizens who can alter their strength, immunity, or lifespan overnight? Borders would mean nothing when biology itself is customizable. Laws written for fragile humans would collapse under the weight of enhanced minds and engineered bodies. Power would no longer sit in weapons or armies, but in who controls genetic code. Then comes the darkest possibility, identity loss. If you can change who you are at the molecular level, where does the real you live? Are you still the same person after rewriting your fears, your emotions, or your instincts? Love could become programmable, loyalty adjustable, courage installable. Humanity risks losing the raw imperfections that once made life meaningful, trading authenticity for optimization. Religion and philosophy would be shaken to their core. Were humans meant to edit what was once called destiny? Some would call it divine progress, others a dangerous rebellion against nature itself. Ancient questions about free will, soul, and purpose would resurface with terrifying urgency. If you can design yourself, is there still room for fate, or does fate finally surrender? Nature itself would react in unpredictable ways. Humans optimized for survival might outgrow the planet's balance. Longer lifespans could strain resources, while enhanced bodies might dominate ecosystems unintentionally. Evolution, once slow and blind, would be hijacked by human desire, and Earth would have to adapt to a species that refuses to stay within natural limits. Relationships would change forever. Imagine falling in love with someone who can rewrite themselves overnight. Trust would become fragile when personality traits are adjustable settings. Breakups might happen not because of betrayal, but because someone chose to upgrade into someone unrecognizable. Love would have to learn how to survive in a world where people are no longer biologically consistent. Education would collapse and rebirth overnight. Schools would no longer teach memorization but decision-making. What should you become? Children would not ask, "What do I want to do when I grow up?" but "What version of myself should I design?" Guidance counselors would replace teachers, and wisdom would matter more than information, because information would live inside DNA. Crime would evolve into something far more complex. Criminals could reprogram invisibility traits, emotional detachment, or extreme intelligence. At the same time, law enforcement could do the same. The battle would no longer be between good and evil, but between versions of humanity competing at a genetic level.
Yet hope still exists in this terrifying future. Humans could reprogram empathy, compassion, and cooperation into their DNA. War could fade if aggression is no longer a default trait. Hatred could weaken if understanding is biologically reinforced. For the first time, peace might not depend on choice alone, but on design. And finally, the biggest question remains unanswered. Just because humans can reprogram their DNA overnight, should they? Power without wisdom has destroyed civilizations before, and this power would be greater than fire, electricity, or the internet combined. The future of humanity would not depend on technology, but on restraint. Because the moment humans rewrite their DNA, they are no longer just surviving evolution, they are becoming its authors. As this new dawn stretches across the world, whispers would spread about those who refuse to reprogram themselves at all. These originals would choose to remain untouched, carrying the raw, unedited version of humanity within their cells. Some would admire them as guardians of authenticity, while others would pity them as outdated. A silent tension would grow between the designed and the natural, forcing society to confront whether progress means improvement or simply change. Art and culture would undergo a quiet revolution. Music written by genetically enhanced minds could reach frequencies of emotion never felt before, while films and poetry might be engineered to trigger precise feelings in the audience. Yet many would crave imperfection again, the shaky voice, the uneven brushstroke, the flawed story, because flaw would become rare, and rarity always regains value. In a world of perfection, imperfection could become the ultimate luxury. A new kind of fear would settle into everyday life, the fear of constant becoming. When you can always be smarter, stronger, calmer, or more attractive, satisfaction might disappear. People would lie awake wondering if they chose the right genetic upgrades, or if a better version of themselves is still waiting to be unlocked. Contentment, once an emotional state, would turn into a moving target that keeps slipping just out of reach. Families would face impossible choices. Parents would debate how much freedom to give their children over their genetic design. Is it love to remove every possible weakness, or cruelty to deny a child the chance to struggle and grow? Generations might clash, with older humans clinging to their original DNA while younger ones reshape themselves without hesitation, widening not just a cultural gap, but a biological one. Slowly, a counter-movement would rise, not against technology, but against speed. People would choose to reprogram less, not more, treating DNA like a sacred language rather than editable code. Overnight changes would feel reckless, and patience would become revolutionary. Wisdom would return as a guiding force, reminding humanity that not every ability needs to be unlocked immediately. In the end, humanity would stand at a mirror far more honest than glass. The question would no longer be what humans can become, but what they are willing to protect while becoming it. Because if DNA can be rewritten overnight, then the future is no longer something humans wait for. It is something they choose,